Welcome to Karen's place, the space she uses to innovate. She'll make sure you're left thinking, I could do the same thing. Karen says, just do it. There ain't nothing to it. Just do it.
All right, so welcome to week 13 of mixed media artist Karen Eastland's creative journal. And this week, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating snapshot of her process.
Oh.
Yeah, she's got novel editing going on and also releasing a Viking metal song.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've got two sources for this deep dive. We've got her actual journal entry from that week.
Okay.
And then also the transcript from her YouTube video for Feast of Sephremnir.
All
So we're really going to get a cool inside look at how she juggles all these different creative projects.
Yeah.
And also her use of AI tools.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's really something, all within a single week.
So we're really seeing, how a modern artist kind of navigates all these different things they have going on, the different demands from, novel writing, which is often very solitary.
Yeah.
And then also, the more collaborative stuff, using AI and music and things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into this week in Karen's life. The journal entry covers Monday, March 24th to Friday, March 29th, 2025.
Okay.
But she also briefly mentions the week before. And what's interesting is she describes this period as a slow week. She wasn't feeling her best.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good reminder that, even for super creative people, it's not always just nonstop output.
Yeah.
You have ebbs and flows.
Right.
But even in a quieter week like this, releasing, a Viking metal song on the 24th is a pretty big deal. It shows that you can still be creative even when you're not feeling 100%.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that even while she's feeling kind of under the weather, she's still deep in her novel, A Friend in Need, which is the first in her Josephine Marlin series.
Right.
But she decided to rewrite it from a third-person limited point of view.
Oh, wow.
That seems like a huge task to take on. What kind of impact does a shift like that have on a novel?
Well, for people who may not know, third-person limited basically means the story's told from an outside perspective.
Okay.
But we're only seeing things through the main character's eyes.
I see.
It can make you feel a lot closer to that character.
Yeah.
Because you're right there with them. But, as Karen said, it's a whole new beast. You have to rethink how everything's revealed and how the reader experiences the whole thing.
Right.
It's a good example of how revision isn't just about fixing typos.
Right.
You can completely change how the story's told.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, and then we have this awesome song, Feast of Sephremir. Even the title is so cool.
Yeah, it is.
She calls it a battle hymn for the eternal warriors. And the journal entry, it just oozes this feeling of battle and celebration and this undying spirit of warriors in Valhalla. It's you can almost hear the fighting and the feasting all at once.
It's so evocative. And, when you dive into the actual lyrics, which we have, the imagery's even stronger. You can really see how they go from battle straight into this crazy celebration.
Oh, yeah.
That line, eat, drink, we live again. Tomorrow we fight, but tonight we sin.
Yeah, I love that.
It perfectly captures the life of a warrior.
It's so vivid. And that repeated line, scowl to the fallen, scowl to the brave.
Yeah.
Such a powerful tribute,
Yeah.
It really emphasizes how important it is to honor the fallen warriors, connecting the celebration to their sacrifices. What does that repetition of scowl do for the overall feel of the song?
I think that Skal, which is a Norse toast,
Right.
it really ties the whole song together.
Yeah.
It's celebrating life, but it's also remembering death, which fits perfectly with that whole cycle of battle and honor in Valhalla.
Oh, for sure.
It makes you feel like you're part of this ritual with the warriors.
Okay, so let's switch gears a bit and talk about Karen's use of AI, which I found really interesting.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
She specifically mentions using AI for her Wrecked and Ready's Valhalla album.
Right.
And obviously Feast of Sephremir is part of that.
Uh-huh.
She even named her ChatGPT AI.
Oh, cool.
And used it to make sure the lyrics fit the story she had in mind for the album.
I see.
What do you think that tells us about how she's using AI?
I think it shows that she's not trying to replace her own creativity with AI.
Okay.
It's more like a tool to make her ideas even better.
Yeah.
Naming it Saul makes it seem more like a partner.
Right.
You know, someone to help make sure everything's consistent across the project.
I see.
It's a good example of how AI is becoming part of the creative process. It helps with certain tasks,
Okay.
but the artist is still in control.
Yeah. And she's not just using ChatGPT. There's also ideogram for images, which is, that's for making visuals with AI, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And she uses Suno to create the first drafts of the music and vocals so she can play around with ideas quickly.
Oh, wow.
And then to finish it off, she uses more traditional software like the Reaper for editing audio and DaVinci Resolve for the video. It's this really cool mix of the latest tech and the stuff that's been around for a while.
It's a smart way to use the best parts of different tools.
Right?
AI is great for coming up with initial ideas and keeping a story consistent,
Right.
while the other software lets you make those final touches and really polish everything. Like Karen said, AI both excites and enthralls me and expands my imagination. I think that sums it up well.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's almost like AI is becoming another creative collaborator.
Yeah.
And she doesn't just use it for these projects either. Karen has a pretty big online presence across a bunch of platforms.
Wow.
Like she has multiple YouTube channels, My Writerly Self, Karen Eastland, Grandma Claus channel, The Jazzman, Starfire,
Oh my God.
and then a whole network of websites for all her different things.
Yeah.
Like her writing and music, even community news. It's this massive web of content.
That's really smart. I mean, these days, having the online presence is so important for artists. It's how you reach all sorts of different people and show off everything you do.
Right.
Someone who likes her novels might find her music, or the other way around. It creates a really rich experience for her fans.
Yeah, it's like building a whole creative world for them to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at this particular week in Karen's journal, we see this really interesting contrast, right?
Uh-huh.
Novel writing, which is very traditional and often done alone, existing alongside this super modern, tech-heavy way of making music.
Absolutely.
And even though it was a slow week for her, releasing Feast de Sifrimnir shows that she's still full of creative energy.
Yeah, it makes you think about how art is changing.
Yeah.
It's not just the tools, but how artists like Karen use them thoughtfully,
Right.
pushing the boundaries of what you can do and blurring the lines between the old ways and the new ways of creating.
What stands out to you the most when you think about how Karen combines traditional art with AI?
I think what's most interesting is that blurring of lines. Like you said, AI is not just for automating things anymore.
Yeah.
It's becoming a real partner in creating,
Yeah.
helping with ideas, and even how they're carried out. It makes you wonder about who's really the author and what it means to be an artist when all this technology is available.
Yeah.
Karen's a great example of how this partnership can actually make art even more expressive and open up all sorts of new possibilities.
Absolutely. It definitely gives you a lot to think about. As we move forward, how do you think these AI tools will continue to shape not just music, but all kinds of creativity? This look into week 13 of Karen Eastland's journal is a really fascinating place to start thinking about all that.
Yeah, for sure. It's really exciting to see where things go from here.
Thanks for stopping